I'm just going to do a quick recap. Last week, we talked about not catching up, but actually moving forward. If you tried one simple thing, asking AI one question, checking one summary, testing one prompt, you crossed the threshold. Today, we're talking about what's on the other side of that threshold and how the rules of work itself have changed. So, with that, I'm going to make a promise. By the end of this episode, listeners will understand how AI is changing the landscape of everyday work across industries, from strategy to execution, and how they can evolve their role, their value, their visibility without losing their identity. So, that aside, I'm going to say, welcome, Melody. It is a pleasure to have you back on. Yeah, I'm excited about this one because now we get to talk about not just the introduction, but the different ways to be able to leverage AI and the ways that people can start to take advantage of it because we're seeing a lot of shifts and a lot of different things that are taking place right now. And it's important to figure out not just how to catch up, but how to get out ahead of it and how to pivot with some of the new things that are going on right now.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thank you again for having me.
Okay, so I want to open with this thought.
Mm.
Posting consistently used to be enough, or being good at your job used to guarantee visibility. But now we're somewhat in a different stage because it's less about you being good enough, because in some cases, people can copy what it is that you put out there and then repurpose it so that it seems less like an original thought and more just a thought. So there's a lot of things that are going on. I will start with this. What's one rule of work or business that no longer guarantees the same results as it used to?
So it used to be that if you were competent, you would, you just competent in doing the thing that you do, whatever that happens
Mhm.
to be, accounting, law, cutting hair, whatever it is, tour guide. If you were competent, that's you could keep your job. If you were competent and you were willing to speak in public or do all
Mhm.
some of these scary things that your colleagues didn't want to do, then you'd get really noticed and you could get
Right.
promoted faster, right? But and those skills are still really valuable. Those public speaking skills, those I'm willing to take risks and put myself out to the world, those are still
Mhm.
really valuable. But the competency in job, what if AI can do a whole bunch of what you do? What if a
Mhm.
lot of what you do can be done by AI? So now you doing just head down doing my job isn't enough. We want to
Right.
be able to be the thinkers. So this is the job and I can do that. I'm competent and I can get AI to do it and I can start improving things because I'm a
Mhm.
thinker by getting AI to do a lot of my work and allowing me my creative space, my thinker space, my innovator space, my problem solver space. And I'm willing to take that out and do the public speaking and all those other scary things that my colleagues don't want to do. And so now we are, how fast can we pivot when necessary? Which humans don't want to do. And I get it. We don't like change.
Yeah.
We like sameness. We like that safe space. We all want to live in this safe space. We just don't live in that world right now.
Absolutely. There's so much to unpack with that. One of the things that came to mind is one of the next questions I was going to ask you is why are experienced professionals feeling less visible and
Mm.
less impactful right now? And you've answered that question in a way of there are things that people used to do and just naturally get check marks for and the little stars they put at the top of papers when you're kids. But now it's something where you have to take those extra steps. You have to have a better understanding of the workflow so you can figure out where you can actually bring value as opposed to just going through the motions. Going through the motions are things that AI can do now.
Yeah,
And one of the other things that stood out is using or leveraging AI. I will say leveraging. Using is, I don't like using people or anything else, but leveraging AI is something that I think more people should be doing because it frees up that bandwidth. It frees up the space for you to be able to identify the other things, play more to your strengths. If it's something where you know that you're not as good at it and you have no intention of being good at it, then AI is something that you can outsource it to. And it's going to be just as smart, if not smarter than you are in that
yeah,
thing that you would naturally struggle with. So if something takes you 5 hours, AI can probably do it in an hour or probably even shorter than that. Those are things that I think stand out. And then as far as the experienced professionals, I'll still ask the question, why are experienced professionals feeling less visible or
yeah.
less impactful right now?
Yeah, so I think that, you know, AI can automate cognitive tasks.
Hmm.
And that's what, if you think about a professional, sometimes that was what that was their value. And so job displacement becomes a fear. I also think they worry about erosion of values in the workplace. I think because AI doesn't have its, it doesn't care about ethics in the way that a human
Hmm.
cares about, right? But I have to say this: for a long time, we've complained about we're overloaded, we're overworked, we're overwhelmed. I hear this all the time in
Right.
my job. I'm overworked, I'm overwhelmed. It's too much. It's too much pressure. Well, what if we could give AI a whole chunk of our job
Hmm.
so that we could still get everything done, but reduce our work hours from those overtime of 50 or 60 hours to working a 35-hour week? And we're still getting
Yeah.
the same amount of work done. Looking at it that way, now we're not saying, "Oh, I'm just going to be replaced." Oh, it's like, no, corporations have been asking more and more and more of people.
Yeah.
So what if AI can do some of that more and people can do less and enjoy life more? Wouldn't that be a good thing, right?
Absolutely. I think you're explaining work-life balance in a way that it's never really been possible before. I have the workaholic work ethic, so I got it from my mother. It's been passed down from generation to generation. My
Yeah,
grandmother had it, so even when I have more free time, I find time to be able to put towards work because I actually enjoy what I do. But
yeah,
I do know that there is a balance that you can create leveraging AI because of how efficient it makes you. So, for the things that, again, may take you longer to be able to do, those are the things that I'm going to outsource to AI. I'm going to leverage its ability to be able to summarize something down and allow me to be able to figure out what I want to be able to do with it. So I know one of the things that we talked about was kind of going in with garbage in, garbage out. And this is something where, it can summarize something and then you can review it and then decide is, okay, do I like where you're going with it? If so, great. We can kind of pick up with it from there. I can add some context. I can streamline things. And then if I don't, then, that's something where you can catch it sooner. So there's so many different ways that you can leverage AI. And it's such a thing of identifying ways to be able to free up your time to focus on the things that actually move the needle. So if you're bogged down with busy work, I remember being on the corporate side and there were just certain days where there were things that I knew I had to do that they didn't help me hit my goals. They didn't help me do any of the other things, but they were part of the job. And just being part of the job, it's a requirement and it's something that you have to do. AI can now take on those tasks and allow you to focus on the things that you actually enjoy doing. So in some cases, yes, it may be putting people at risk, but it's I don't want to say it across the board. More than not, it's putting people at risk that were kind of going through the motions.
yeah, yeah. But it's interesting. The auto industry went through this.
Hmm.
Everything was manual labor. There were people on the assembly line, each putting in a piece. One person, one
Hmm.
person doing one screw 100 or 1,000 times a day. And then automation came in, and we still build cars. Fewer
Yeah.
people work in the industry, but there might be more people in design now. There might be, and
Yep.
I'm not saying it's not hard when you are facing what feels like an existential threat to your
Mm.
life, to your life, to your livelihood. Absolutely, that is. I'm not saying it's easy, but I am saying, we go through this every once in a while, the printing press, automation, now AI. We go through this. This is not something AI is new, but the idea of huge innovations completely changing how we live and work,
Yeah.
that's not actually new. And so, we're going to have to go through these things. So if you feel that you're being left behind, or you're afraid of AI, or you don't trust AI, I understand, but
Hmm.
it doesn't mean AI is going to go away. So let's figure out how we can actually use it day to day to enrich our lives rather than, burying our heads in the sand.
Absolutely. It is definitely here to stay.